This was where I met the Revival.
Yes, this is something everyone's been waiting for.
Well, and I got to tell you, I found out something that I didn't know. Scott Dawson, I've known him for 7 years.
What?
Yes. You don't know this.
No.
Because I didn't know this. And I'm not going to expose his business, so I'm not going to mention the name that he was wrestling under at the time. But when I was at an independent show, I believe with the Midnight Express, back in, I believe it was 2010, I was watching the matches. Some of them were hurting my feelings, the matches that came on beforehand. And then all of a sudden I saw this guy. And like I said, I won't mention the name he was using. But at the time I told somebody else, I said it was like going to a goddamn tryout at a wrestling school and suddenly seeing Barry Windham. This kid, he, and it's hard to explain to somebody who doesn't know and hasn't been in the business or trained at a high level school or whatever. But it wasn't that he was doing 18 backflips or he was executing all these revolutionary moves. He moved right. His timing was impeccable. His body language and his ring positioning and the way that he did things and his basics and his fundamentals and the feet were in the right place. And he took bumps perfectly and just, I said, my God, it still stands out as the biggest diamond in a turd that I've ever experienced to see this guy working on that show. It was just far and away. You knew he's got it. He's a natural. And so I immediately took his information, gave him mine, and I brought him to one of the Ring of Honor tryouts and comped him his tuition. But that was it. And he came up for the tryout and had some matches, and he was by far and away the best worker, the best fundamental worker in that camp. But that was the time where the transition of Booker was going from Adam Pearce to Delirious. And so the booking was kind of up in the air. And also, to be honest, he didn't stand out for Ring of Honor because he didn't do any flips and he wasn't doing revolutionary moves and he didn't have incredible size or whatever. He just was the most polished, even at that level of experience, most polished performer. And I also had him do TV. That's when we were doing TV still for HDNet, now Access. And I had him work with a guy that I thought they could have a standout match with because he was, I'm not going to mention any names, but he was a guy who had been through OVW and I always thought highly of his work, but he was having some personal issues at the time and it was not working out well and it did not work out well for him in Ring of Honor. And so this kid, the future Scott Dawson, actually had to carry the guy that we put him in, et cetera. And it was not a standout match. So, but they say good things happen to those who wait. And son of a bitch, when you know who won the pony, 7 years later, he comes up to me. Back then, he didn't have a beard and he had hair, which is why I never recognized him. But he told me who he was. And then out of his wallet, he pulled the piece of paper that I'd written my name and telephone number on.
Wow.
And I said, well, it took you a while, but maybe it's best that you didn't get the job I was trying to get you then, because now I think you got one that probably pays a little better. And I'm not trying to, and Dash Wilder, I'm not trying to put all the attention on Dawson and ignore his partner, because he's a little younger and hadn't been in it as long, but he's more than carrying his share of the load. They're a great team and they're in equal parts of the team. But I asked him before I knew this, I said, how the fuck? I've had guys in OVW. We've had guys in Ring of Honor. We've tried to train. And some of them have had great success and some of them haven't, but nobody picks up just the little things that you guys do that makes you look like a polished worker from 20 years ago. How do you do it? And that's when he said, well, and he was from North Carolina. Not sure where Dash is from.
North Carolina too, I think.
Well, there you go. And They grew up with it and they studied it and they lived it. And their father, Dawson's father, is a big fan, got to talk to him. So he was taking him from an early age. And so basically, once again, I've proven to be an incredible judge of talent. but I couldn't believe that he was who he was. And I've found that out. So anyway, and I also got to see Charlotte Flair for the last time I saw her. She was 3 feet tall. So that was fun.